I think the economy and all the ramifications of what it does to people, underprivileged people and under-resourced people, this is a crucial point where people have to make the right decision.
Sharing the voices of you, the voters, this election day, and helping you be more informed as you head to the polls to make your decision. This morning, we're going to answer your questions from issues facing where you live to some of the biggest races in the Commonwealth.
This is CBS 6 This Morning.
6 o'clock. Thanks for joining us on this Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th. I'm Rob Cardwell.
And I'm Reba Hollingsworth. We have team coverage this morning as you head out to the polls and cast your ballot. Carolyn Coburn will join us live from Short Pump, sharing the voices of local voters there. Brendan King is live in Richmond with everything you need to know if you still want to vote but missed a voter registration deadline.
And we're going to get to all of your election coverage in just a minute, we promise. But first, let's check in with Tom for a quick forecast. Tom, what will it be like as voters head to their polling sites this morning?
Well, if they go over the next few hours, here in parts of town and eastward, southward through Tri-Cities, some dense fog. We have a dense fog advisory for the next 3 hours. It ends at 9 o'clock. Let's show you what's going on this morning. Current temperature is mild. We're at 56 degrees at the airport. Some fog being reported in eastern Henrico County. The dew point's up into the mid-50s as well. And generally, we have 50s all around the metro and most of the Commonwealth this morning, so it's pretty mild. And there's where the fog is, and you can see that setting up from Chesterfield, Matoaka area, right south through Petersburg, Tri-Cities, and eastward toward the Bay, Northern Neck, Middle Peninsula, with some very low, if not zero, visibilities in some cases. In many cases, down to about a quarter of a mile. So there's a dense fog advisory in place until 9 o'clock this morning. Once that fog burns off, we'll start to see more sunshine come in, and it's going to be a warm day today with a high of 78. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Tom. Well, polls just opened minutes ago as Election Day gets underway. Here is a live look at the East District Center, city of Richmond on North 25th Street. We are told this is one of the busiest polling sites in RVA.
Hi, we're just asking people about what issues they're thinking about as far as the election, not people, just the issues.
I'm Reba with Channel 6. What's important to you this election season?
We're coming out to talk to people about what issues are important to them this election.
Not about who you're voting for, but just some of the key issues that are most important to you.
Well, what are the most important things that are going through their minds at this election? What's important to you?
So what issues concern you most headed into this election?
And this is important. This Election Day, we want to hear from you, the voters, about the biggest issues facing you and your families, from the economy to local elections to a possible casino that's coming to our area and more.
Yeah, Rob and I went out into the community, Henrico and Chesterfield specifically, to ask those questions and get those answers. And this morning, we're sharing your voices. What's important to you about this election season? Like an issue? Is there an issue or anything that stands out close to your heart?
Obviously, women's rights, anything to do with my children. You know, I think things that are happening in schools, and it's hard. All of it's hard, and it's all important. Everything feels like it's on the line.
I'm a father of two. Grocery store prices, sure. Just being able to, you know, kind of provide for the family is always important. Number one topic for me.
My grocery prices have more than doubled under this administration. Fuel prices have more than doubled under this administration. How is that better for America?
I think the economy's on the right track now. Inflation's coming down, stock market is great, happy with that. I think just stabilizing that, you know, job numbers are great.
I guess the biggest thing is just getting the prices down and looking at buying home ownership. Those are the major issues.
What are you hoping that, like, somebody, whoever it's going to be, I'm not asking you who you're going to vote for, but whoever that is, what would you like to see them do in the upcoming next 4 years?
I think it's best for them to focus on the economy, for everybody to catch up on those growing prices and stuff like that, and probably look into the schools as well, because I think our education system is on a decline in the past few years.
The polls are open now as the race for the White House is coming to the finish line. Both candidates spent Monday making final pushes in the battleground states. Former President Donald Trump took to visiting his last campaign stops from 2016 and 2020. After starting in North Carolina and Pennsylvania, Trump had a late-night rally in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Vice President Kamala Harris went all in on Pennsylvania, closing out a multi-stop tour of the state with star-studded concert rallies in Pittsburgh, then from the base of the famous Rocky Steps at the Philadelphia Art Museum. Already, more than 81 million Americans have voted early this election, with 2.29 million voting early here in Virginia.
And as you prepare to cast your ballot today, we are continuing to share your voices about issues that are important to you. Caroline Coburn is live this morning in Shore Pump, letting us know what means the most to you for today's election and what you need to know today at the polls. Caroline.
Reba, good morning. The polls opened just minutes ago. I want to show you what the line's looking like here at Shore Pump Elementary School. It was stretching all the way down the sidewalk here behind me. Now it's gotten a little shorter as voters are making their way in to cast their ballots. And if you weren't one of the 44% of voters here in Henrico who already cast their ballot early, you will be going to your polling location to vote in person today. So what do you need to know before you head out the door? Let's break it all down for you. First up, you want to know where your polling location is. That could have changed since the last presidential election, so you can head to WTVR.com where we have a link to the Virginia Citizen Portal. There you can enter your information, enter your address, and they will tell you where you need to go to vote. That's incredibly important. Also, make sure you believe before you leave your home that you have a valid ID. You won't be able to vote without it, so you need that. Now, on your ballot, whether you live in Henrico, Chesterfield, Petersburg, even Nottoway or Lunenburg counties, you'll have two big races on your ballot. The presidential race, Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris, and the race for the U.S. Senate, incumbent Tim Kaine taking on Republican Hung Cao. While all of 11 of Virginia's congressional districts are up for grabs this year, only the 2nd and 7th districts are expected to be competitive races. Now, CBS 6 has been out talking to voters for weeks now about the issues most important to them, and a big one, you might have guessed it, the economy. Take a listen to what one Henrico voter and a Tri-Cities voter had to say about how their dollar is impacting their vote.
Well, we need a strong economy for a lot of different reasons, but retirement's, you know, I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel for retirement soon, so I want a stronger economy so that my retirement dollars can go farther.
I still struggle from the day to day, trying to make ends meet, but then I'm overtaxed because I chose to be educated, I chose to have a career and to have a decent paying job.
Now, Democrats have won Virginia in every presidential race since 2008, so will we see a repeat of that today? We'll have to wait until the polls close to find out. And a reminder here, polls are open now. They'll stay open until 7 p.m. So even if you're in this line behind me at 6:59, even right at 7, you will be allowed inside the door to cast your ballot. Rob, Reba, another big issue that we've been talking about, immigration. Stay tuned. At 6:30, you're going to hear from some Central Virginia voters about how that's going to impact their vote.
All right, thanks, Caroline. And one of the local races we'll be following closely here at CBS 6, the Richmond mayoral race. To help us understand, Cameron Thompson spoke to our political analyst, Dr. Bob Holsworth.
Yeah, he says that the sheer number of votes a candidate gets doesn't matter. And that's because it's a modified electoral college race. It depends on who can win 5 of the 9 districts in the city.
So we have 5 candidates in the race. If only 2 candidates win districts, we'll have a winner tomorrow night. However, if 3 or 4 of the candidates win districts, then it's a possibility that we would have a runoff.
Dr. Bob also points out that the majority of people voting in Richmond aren't necessarily coming out to vote for the mayor, but more so for the president.
And in Richmond, 85% of those people are likely to vote for Kamala Harris. Who are they going to see as the most likely, you might say, ally of Kamala Harris? Who are they going to see as the person who's most closely related to Kamala Harris? So that's, I think, the big unknown in the city right now, is that what we see on Election Day is a very significant number of voters who come out specifically for the presidential race and who for the mayoral race is a bit subordinate.
Now, some VCU students will be among those voters, according to Dr. Bob. He tells us there have been significant shifts in mayoral elections based on the precincts around the university. Now, another big race here in Virginia, the U.S. Senate.
Democratic incumbent Tim Kaine is up against Republican challenger Hung Cao. Both Kaine and Cao have made manufacturing a big focus in their campaigns for U.S. Senate. On Monday, Kaine met with supporters in Fredericksburg, where he touted manufacturing investments in recent legislation. Meantime, Cao spent the last few days of the election campaigning in Williamsburg, Tangier Island, and in Salem Saturday, where he attended a rally with former President Donald Trump. The latest Roanoke College poll shows Cao trailing Kaine by 9 points. Tonight, Cao will meet with supporters in Northern Virginia, while Senator Kaine will be with supporters in Richmond. And if you want to vote here in the Commonwealth, but you missed the voter registration deadline, you're in luck.
Yeah, Virginia is one of 23 states plus Washington, D.C. that offers same-day voter registration. Brendan King joins us live with what you need to know about the process. Brendan.
Well, for just the last 2 years, since 2022, Virginians have been able to cast a ballot here on Election Day Tuesday, despite missing the October 15 registration deadline. Last week, I had an opportunity to speak with the voters, asking them to weigh in on same-day registration. Listen to what some said.
Tuned in until closer to the election, and they're just devastated when they didn't realize the cutoff.
Anything that gets more people to vote needs to happen.
If you'd like to take advantage of same-day registration today, you must be a U.S. citizen and a resident of Virginia. Today, you should go to your neighborhood polling location. To find that, just Google My Polling Location and enter your address. You must also affirm your location of residency with the polling officials. Then you will fill out a provisional ballot, which will be counted later when election officials can verify you are a legit voter. I spoke to Hanover's general registrar about who uses same-day registration most often in her county.
We have citizens that have never voted and are in the 60 to 80-year-old age range that are coming out and registering to vote, and unfortunately they missed that cutoff, so they're doing same-day registrations.
This morning we're live in the city of Richmond in Church Hill. This is the voting location on North 25th Street. According to the Richmond Registrar Keith Ballmer, a lot going on outside. According to Richmond Registrar Keith Ballmer, he says that this is the polling location in the city with the highest voter registration. So you can expect some long lines later today. We've seen about 2 dozen people already voting here this morning, and polls have only been open for about 10 minutes. In our next half hour, Ballmer will talk about why he says college students from VCU are most likely to use same-day registration. That's ahead at 6:30.
Yeah, good to see people already in line this morning. Well, stay with us this morning, because in our next half hour, we break down the Petersburg casino referendum some of you will see on your ballots today, and what you can expect at your polling locations as you head out throughout the day. Plus, we take a closer look at how Central Virginians feel about border control and immigration heading into Election Day.
And as we await the results of the battle for the Oval Office, we'll be following the results of local key measures like Richmond's mayoral race and, of course, that Petersburg casino initiative. You can stream our election coverage live on CBS 6 along with our parent company, Scripps News. You can check us out on all of the platforms that you see there on your screen.
All right, it is 6:12. Let's go to Tom now with your forecast. Tom, I was driving in this morning. It would be clear, and then it would be this thick fog and clear again. That was my drive this morning.
Clear and fog, yes. Yeah. That sounds kind of like when I was in school. I would understand it, and then
then a fog,
and then 10 minutes later I'd be in a fog. So there you go.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, thanks. All right, yes, I did same exact thing. I understand what she's saying. I drove into fog, then out of fog, in fog. It's kind of that thing here in the metro. Some areas it's a little heavier though. There's Petersburg. Look at the almanac. Thick fog down in the Tri-City, southern Chesterfield, in many areas. So there's a dense fog advisory this morning through 9 o'clock. 64 is our normal. Sun comes up at 6:39 and sets tonight at 5:06. All right, let's open the window this morning. A little bit of that fog, that fresh fog in the home. All right, Twin Bridges and Hope. Oh, look at that. Very unique. And the speed limit is 45, don't forget. See that? Lynette Woodard, thank you so much, Lynette. That is a cool view of those bridges down there. Appreciate that. Just love it. Pics at WTVR.com. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Tom. Well, in addition to the candidates on your ballots today, there will also be a Virginia constitutional amendment when you head to the polls, how it's aimed at helping spouses of service members killed in the line of duty.
It's a foggy start to the morning drive. Take a look at our bottom 2 cameras. Not only will we be looking at interstate traffic, but we have some polling locations from Chester to Midlothian to Shore Pump.
Your positive start to your day is a story about overcoming challenges.
A California teenager, listen to this, learned to play football despite losing his eyesight at a very young age. It was an adjustment from youth football to high school football for Jason Bracey. You see, Jason was diagnosed with retinal cancer when he was just a year old. By the time he was 7, he'd completely lost his vision. But this is interesting. At 15, Jason joined a youth football league. His father communicated with him during the games through that walkie-talkie you see in his son's helmet. Jason just wrapped up the season with his high school football team as a quarterback. It's to throw every now and then. He says it's about staying both mentally and physically fit.
I believe that life and part of football is 90% mental, because as soon as you let the outside rumors roam in, wherever, then that's how you know that you lost the mental game already.
Well, Jason's dad says it's a big commitment to be there every day for practices and games, but he's very proud that his son has accomplished everything. Jason says he hopes to play one day on his college football team next year. How interesting would that be? That's
I
awesome.
know, that is amazing. Well, our live team coverage of Election Day continues this morning. We have everything you need to know about casting your ballot at the polls today, same-day voter registration, and we continue to share your voices about key topics that are top of mind for voters this morning.
And Scripps News Deputy Political Director Joe St. George will join us live near Atlanta this morning. What election uncertainties are specific to Virginia? And we take a look at the easiest path to 270 electoral college votes, both for Trump and Harris. That's coming up later this hour.
Prices are higher, there's some shortages, etc. So I think we can do a lot better job on the economy.
The price of groceries, yeah, like we didn't even fill up our cart and spent almost $250. So, and we just, got little stuff. So that's a big deal.
Today is Election Day, and we are continuing to share your voices all morning. We're breaking down what's important to you as you head to the polls.
This is CBS 6 This Morning.
Good morning, 6:30 on this Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th. I'm Rob Cardwell.
And I'm Reba Hollingsworth. Thanks for staying with us this morning. We have team coverage for you this morning. Our Caroline Coburn joins us live from Shore Pump Elementary, going over your Election Day necessities. And Brendan King is live in Richmond, focusing on same-day voter registration. But first, let's check with Tom with your Election Day forecast, a foggy one, too.
Yeah, all that, and I get to go first? All right.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about that. We do have a lot of fog out here this morning, and it is moving in more and more here into the city. I can see our tower is starting to disappear. Let's show you what's going on right now. At the airport, it is 56 degrees. It's a warm morning, but it is a very foggy morning in some cases. In some cases, it's not. The dew point's 55. The air is calm, and temperatures are in the mid-50s and low 50s all throughout the metro this morning, so it's a nice mild start here. Here's where the fog is. You can see sort of a diagonal right through central Virginia here, about I-95 south and eastward. That's where the dense fog is, and we do have very low visibilities, if not zero visibilities in some cases, and the advisory goes until 9 o'clock this morning, and after that we should at least see some sun start to work its way out. So morning fog, going to be a warmer day with a high of 78. In fact, we may see the 80s again by tomorrow, and then changes will arrive by Thursday. So we'll talk about that coming up in a few minutes. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Tom. All right, here's a live picture from Short Pump Elementary School, just one polling location that's open to voters in Henrico's West End. Those polls opened about 31 minutes ago. People are beginning to line up, casting their ballots now that polls have been open. But here.
Hi, we're just asking people about what issues they're thinking about as far as the election, not people, just the issues.
I'm Reba with Channel 6. What's important to you this election season?
We're
coming out to talk to people about what issues are important to them this election.
Not about who you're voting for, but just some of the key issues that are most important to you.
Well, what are the most important things that are going through their minds at this election? What's important to you?
So what issues concern you most headed into this election?
Into this year's election.
To find the answer, CBS 6 went out into the community to ask you, and this morning we're giving voters a voice. Many of you thought about the nation's economy and how it impacts your daily life. Take a look.
And the economy, I think, has gotten a lot worse the last several years. Prices are higher, there's some shortages, etc. So I think we can do a lot better job on the economy.
The price of groceries, yeah, like we didn't even fill up our cart and spent almost $250. So, and we just, got little stuff. So that's a big deal.
Well, you don't get as much for your money that you spend now. Of course you don't. I mean, it's been, 12 years? And everything keeps going up, but our paychecks don't keep going up.
Just our economy right now, and like gas prices and things. It's like really high, and especially for this type of vehicle, the gas mileage is really bad, and I burn gas really. But
Gas prices, food prices, jobs.
And other hot topics on the minds of voters: immigration and border control.
Yeah, Caroline Coburn is live in Short Pump sharing more voices in our community. Good morning, Caroline.
Well, good morning, Rob and Reba. Yes, we're hearing from voters who say protecting our border is important, and so is making sure people can become U.S. citizens legally. I'm going to get to sharing those voices in just a second, but first, I'll step out just to show you what we're seeing now here at Short Pump Elementary School. Earlier, we saw a line stretching down the sidewalk. Now, it is a pretty easy process. Walk in, walk out. We're hearing people who have told us the process was very simple. The lines were not as long as they'd expected, and that could be because 44% of Henrico's registered voters have already cast their ballot. We're seeing the same numbers in Chesterfield. So if you are registered to vote here in your polling precinct at Short Pump Elementary, come out here. You shouldn't have too much of a line at this hour. Now, poll workers have already arrived. They've been busy at work this morning. Make sure, though, before you leave your house, you know your polling location. This is so important. Now, it could have changed since the last election. So on CBS 6 on WTVR.com, we have a link where you can enter your address and find out exactly where to go. Also, make sure you bring your ID. You will not be able to vote without it, so that is also extremely important. Now let's get to some election context. In the presidential race, the Democratic candidate has won Virginia since 2008. But under a Republican governor, could that change in the Commonwealth? Well, we'll have to wait and see. When it comes to big issues like the economy and immigration, Central Virginians we spoke with have various takes on what's important to them. Now, specifically for immigration, some voters say the border is an issue, but that the president can only do so much without the support of Congress, while others say we need to ensure the southern border is protected so the country is protected for the next generation.
Nationally, I think immigration is a concern, and make sure that people get a chance to come to this country, but to do it legally.
The border issue is a big issue, okay? But it's been an issue for years. No president ever has gotten it straightened out.
I think we have to get control of our southern border because of the issues that are going on all over the country as a result.
Now, we should also note election officials from the Department of Justice will be throughout Virginia today and several other states. We know specifically they'll be here in Henrico County, also in Hanover County, making sure everything goes smoothly, everyone is able to cast their vote. And make sure if you have any issues, you can reach out to CBS 6 and report them to us, and we can try to get some more information for you. And we also have a voter guide where you can find everything you need to know. Rob, Reba, again, the line's not long behind me right now. That could change over the course of the day, so get out and vote early.
Good advice. All right, thanks, Caroline. Well, Petersburg voters will get a final say on whether a casino resort will be built in the city limits. City leaders selected NFL Hall of Famer Bruce Smith and the Cordish Company to develop the $1.4 billion casino project on Wagner Road, just off of I-95 south of downtown. The proposal is contingent on voters approving it. Petersburg pushed to receive the referendum after the city of Richmond voted down a proposed casino project twice. Now, if it gets enough support in Petersburg, the first phase could open within a year, followed by continued development over the next 15 years.
If you have not registered to vote yet, there is still time.
Yeah, it is known as same-day registration, and it was first introduced to the Commonwealth for the 2022 general election following the General Assembly's approval. Brendan King is live to explain how the process works so that you can make your voice heard. Good morning, Brendan.
Good morning to you both. And on this Election Day Tuesday, Virginia joins 23 other states plus Washington, D.C. in offering the same-day voter registration. Last week, I had an opportunity to speak with voters who were voting early, asking them about the pluses and minuses to weigh in on same-day registration. Listen to what they said.
Just don't think twice. It's your right, and whatever motivated you to feel that way at the last minute, that's perfectly fine.
On the other hand, yes, I like to know the people that are voting have the legal right to vote.
All right, listen up. If you'd like to take advantage of same-day registration, you must be a U.S. citizen and a resident of Virginia. Today, you should go to your local polling location. To find that out, just Google My Polling Location, and there you'll be prompted to enter your address. You must also affirm with the elections officials your location of residency at your polling location, and then you'll fill out a provisional ballot, which will be counted later when election officials can verify you are a legit voter. Richmond General Registrar Keith Ballmer says he expects many college students from VCU specifically to use same-day registration.
They're first-time voters for the most part. So in a lot of instances, they're just not registered to vote. And this is their first experience going through the voting process.
This morning, we're live in the city of Richmond in the neighborhood of Church Hill, this polling location, North 25th Street. The registrar for Richmond, the General Registrar Keith Ballmer, who you just heard from, he says this polling location has some of the highest voter registration in all of city. That might be a reason why the mayoral candidate, Dr. Danny Avula, is right behind us greeting voters and shaking hands. So don't forget, the polls are open until 7 o'clock tonight.
Brendan King reporting for us. Thank you, Brendan. Reba and I want to hear from you this morning.
Yeah, we posted to our social media pages asking why you voted early or why you decided to wait until Election Day. And here's some of the responses. And I have to say, most of the people on my social media pages said they early voted. But Paul messaged this morning and said, I'm in line right now with 19-minute wait. I'm in Western Henrico with seven of us in line. And then he went on to say when the doors opened, though, about 40 people were in line.
Wow, already starting. On my Facebook page, Cliff Dunaway says, I voted on day one back in September. The election too important to take a chance on missing it due to illness, weather, or other circumstances beyond my control. And Olenga Fitzgerald said, it's a safety issue. I decided to vote early in order to avoid the large crowds and uncertainty. When you're looking at the news and you're seeing issues of catching ballot boxes on fire, I didn't want to encounter any conflict, especially with having my grandchild with me.
Yeah, and one last one. Marlo Bradley said the same thing, just voted early because there's no lines, just in and out.
All right, you can weigh in by leaving a comment on our social media pages.
And as we await the results of the battle for the Oval Office, we will be following the results of local key measures like Richmond's mayoral race and the Petersburg Casino Initiative. You can stream our election coverage live on CBS 6 along with our parent company Scripps News, and you can check us out on all the platforms you see right there on your screen.
I don't know if it's on the ballot, but I'll vote for this nice warm weather any day, Tom.
Oh, I thought you said you were going to vote for me. But I guess weather affects more of us, I suppose, than simple old me. All right, let's show you what's going on. We do have a warm day in store. We've got some fog, though, right now, and it's starting to sort of lower itself here in town finally. So there's some thick fog. You can see that diagonal there right across central Virginia, some low visibilities, and we have a dense fog advisory in place until 9 o'clock this morning. Once it clears out, we'll start to see more sunshine and warm conditions today with highs in the upper 70s. Let's open that window this morning and see what we have going on. Goodness gracious. That is so cool. A giant owl butterfly, Janet Schwartzberg. Janet, that frightened me a little bit. I got to be honest with you. That's probably the intent there for that butterfly. That is amazing. A giant owl butterfly. Never heard of, never have seen, but thank you for sharing because now we have. Pics at WTVR.com. Back to you guys.
What a picture. All right, thanks, Tom. While voters across America continue to hold their breath for today, River City Diner in Midlothian is making light of the election. We're going to share how the restaurant is cooking up some humor with their new election-themed specials.